Back at it, night two.
We are live.
Night two. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the stream. Good to have everybody here.
Live on the tube.
Tell your friends, send the link out right now. Yep, it's rolling. Don't forget, subscribe, like the video. I'm Guy. I'm John. It's our YouTube channel. I did both lines that time. That's actually John. All right. You see everything you need to see?
Rodgers get traded yet?
Rodgers hasn't been traded yet.
The latest
has not been traded yet.
I think someone hit me in the DMs, and they're like, if you're off Twitter, here's a good Instagram account to follow. It kind of aggregates just all the big stories.
Oh, what is it?
So it's like it could basically just become my my Twitter, but on Instagram, it's called, I don't know, I did the equivalent of the retweet. It's called like Blitz Alert.
Is it like football stuff?
Blitz Alert. Yeah, it's all just every story from like Schefter, Rap Sheet, just kind of aggregates them.
Blitz
so
Alert.
Like for what from Rap Sheet, retirement for Aaron Rodgers is in quote unquote serious consideration.
You know this, John. I told you this because I do have a Jeopardy source. The Jeopardy source told me that Aaron was one of the best hosts they had, and they really liked him.
What did Jeopardy pay? He makes $37 million.
He makes 37. Would have to pay back $11.5 million from his bonus, and then next year, if he's still retired, would have to pay back another $11 million.
Not trying to be Camp Aaron. I'm sorry, even if he did quote unquote retire, if they took that money, they're fucking losers because he's carried the problem for the franchise. Like remember when Luck retired? Now Luck didn't retire out of spite. Luck retired out of injury because Grigson drove him there. Is that like I think Irsay, part of it, you wanted to leave the door open, but Irsay like held the franchise, or I mean, Luck saved. Think how much money Luck made Irsay for like a 4-year span.
Yeah.
Who's like Rodgers? Obviously, Green Bay's been a powerhouse, but who's really profited off that, right? They're all
shareholders. All of us shareholders, John, who each own a certificate for $100. The owner of the Packers. In fact, I should reach out to Aaron as a partial owner of the Packers. I own 1/8 millionth of the Packers. I should reach out to Aaron and try and broker peace.
Broker peace. He is like the Brady thing. Like last year, I think most people just understood. It was like you kind of got Brady, you kind of got Belichick. Rodgers is just kind of this outlier situation that everyone kind of has an opinion. Yeah, I talked to a lady friend today, and she was like, isn't it true Aaron's kind of a dick? Like, people just hear things about Rodgers over the years that are kind of in our age range, right? Yeah. Like, Aaron's basically our peer. And I think if you lived in California, he's a Northern California guy. I think he's just kind of run through some circles at different parts of his life that a lot of people, can just play a couple degrees of separation, just have heard of like a personal story. Like, I would imagine, I don't know, I can't speak for you, but like, I don't have that many personal stories of like 1 degree of separation for like Brady. Even though he's a little older.
Hunter
Bishop.
Bishop.
Been away for a while.
Friend of the show, Hunter Bishop.
Yeah. But it's very rare. I've run into a lot of people over the years. Like, oh, yeah, a girl used to bang Rodgers for a couple months. Or just like little stories that are like you can connect really fast on like a human element. And I think just a lot of people have an opinion on the human. But I think that pisses him off.
Yeah. But, I mean, part of that is, Tom had – well, I don't want to get too off track because the draft second round is going to start a couple things. But, I guess Tom has a child with Bridget Moynihan, and then his wife is very famous. But, Aaron's dated a lot of women. Like Aaron, I think both of them for that reason. Good looking, they win, but also they have dated, married celebrities. So that keeps you, in the news cycle with a different segment, not necessarily your number one NFL fan. So that's good for star power.
Rodgers does a different level. Rodgers' celebrity, though, is kind of – Danica's really famous.
Yeah.
But he dates an actress – that's when you say Olivia is not an A-level celebrity, right? And the chick now that he's dating, I mean, is she a B or is she like a C plus, B minus?
Depends if Pretty Little Lies is on or not. If you're in season or not on HBO.
But like, what would you say?
Is that the name
Giselle?
of the show? Yeah.
Big Little Lies.
Big Little Lies.
Giselle would be an A-level celebrity, right?
I mean, she's one of the rich. I mean, yeah. It's like might as well date Serena.
So what would you say? Just gut feeling like Olivia Munn. C plus?
Yeah.
B minus?
Yeah.
like a legit celebrity, but she's definitely not like an Aniston, right? Or something.
Right.
Or Giselle. And this girl now, I'd say probably now the Big Little Lies huge show, but lower than but I actually think those like that, the people he date kind of draw like Tom, a wide net. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, just saying you bring in more people when you're when you're in that world. Okay, John, are the Jags on the clock?
You know what today is? No, I don't. It's the day when the former players go up and announce.
Yeah,
like the second round. Is
who
Jerry
the Jags sending? Jerry Rice going to go up in a Jeff Garcia jersey?
Anthony Munoz.
Hey,
Franco Harris.
A lot of people.
I don't know who 20. Do you know who 21 is? I got no clue.
21. What do you mean?
The guy, I mean, must be a Hall of Famer. He's wearing a 21 Pittsburgh Steelers jersey.
We might be on Twitter. Are you on what channel are you on?
I'm on ESPN. They're they got all the gold jackets next to Roger.
Orlando Pace. I recognize him.
You know a sneaky guy? I mean, he's famous, but Rodgers looked pretty consistently the same for about 15 years now, has he not? Like no weight fluctuation. His face looks the same. His hair, yeah,
I'd say the last 3 years or so he looks happier. He's really settled in.
I'm not talking moods. I'm just saying like his body.
No, I know. I'm just saying that to me is the only difference in him in the last few years is that I think he's gotten happier.
Hair color, do you think, or is that natural? Just kind of light.
It looks natural, but wouldn't surprise me. Okay. Let's see. Now I got them both on.
But back to Rodgers, I think did we talk about this on the podcast or maybe at the end of the stream?
Hard to remember.
It was kind of nuts how it's by far the biggest story in America. I mean, he's one of the biggest athletes in America. And then the draft started just disappeared. The Packers just ended up with a corner.
Yeah, I mean, it's up to him to bring it back. Like, the Broncos thing, the Raiders thing. It's going to be hard. We've talked about this. To me, if I'm the Packers, I let this thing play out a little longer. I might even make him not show up because it's not like there's some assets sitting there that I can only get right now, right?
Bill Michaels
did
a tweet today in between last time we saw each other from earlier today.
What did he say?
That it would probably be a post June 1 money wise.
Because I think they saved like $17 million or $16 million post June 1.
Yeah,
something like that. Hey, look at this. It's our old radio producer, Michael Marquardt, is here. Appreciate the live stream, so I don't have to listen to Greenberg for 4 hours.
I like Greeny. One beef I have with him, it's like, Mike, it's okay to have a little salt and pepper. He clearly colors everything. It's like, Mike,
or maybe it was McShay that I just saw does like a Just for Men ad or something. Him and Mel. Zet says, remember that moment of truth. Seconds before the pick, Haberman and Middlecoff stayed strong and had Trey Lance as the pick. That's a fact. Jack, remember that moment. Kyle says, John, knock on Leatherwood if you're with me. I've already changed one of my takes from last night. Kind of. And what I've changed is I'm more skeptical today that Fields plus the Bears is going to work, although I still give the Bears full credit for taking the swing. I am not optimistic that that's going to hit.
My take is I think universally everyone blew and jerked off the Mac Jones to Bill Belichick like he's some elite drafter. And maybe I said it at the time, but having a 24 hours to let it marinate and simmer in my mind, where are we just sure that Mac Jones, we questioned whether his talent just to the pros, like he was not some lock. Then he's used to warm weather, going to terrible weather. I just think like if you told me Mac Jones turns out to not be good, I know we don't like to believe that, but I think it's more believable than definitely anyone has mentioned. And also, like if I'm the two quarterbacks I would short right now would be Zach Wilson and Mac Jones. Now the coach, it's hard because the coaching's so elite, but it just The division's a lot better than when Brady was there. Now, I've never been one of those guys that said Brady won because of the division. Like, he kicked. They also played the Steelers and Colts every year, and he won a lot of those games, and we watched him beat everybody. But I just think it's going to be a little more difficult than people assume for Mac, like this plug and play thing. Where I would say with Justin Fields is an underrated element of the Patrick Mahomes selection was Matt Nagy loved Patrick Mahomes. He didn't text me back, but I did some digging. Like, I think he loved Justin Fields, and I'll give one positive thing that he clearly brought away from Andy is like there's a lot of talent there. So we were texting late into the night. I get what you're saying. Like, it could be a disaster. I'm not saying like I wouldn't like bet my life savings on it. But I do think that we talked about this with Jimmy, that Jimmy had some more downs, I think, than we realized looking over the time, but there was so much optimism about like this savior. I think when everyone's kind of pulling for you, it's easier to have a couple down games. When it's like, I think the Bears fans are just all in when the fan base is cool with you. And like they just turned on Mitch, and the down games just that I do think just you kind of live with it, and his talent is so immense. I don't know, man. I'm not saying he's going to be like some star because they're a little unstable right now. People could get fired. He could have a new coach, GM in a year. But I do think his talent, the way we talk about him, is pretty elite, guy.
I don't think there's any denying it. Night ends, just sit back, think a little bit, talk to some people. I am a little, alarmed's not the word, but just aware of the fact that, he went 11, which isn't bad. Going 11 is not bad. But for an elite level prospect to go 11 when we're just looking for guys that look like him and play like him, for Bill to sit at 15 and not go to 11 to get him, to sit back and just get Mac Jones. And I'm not saying Mac is good or bad.
Jay Cutler went 11.
All I'm saying is for Justin Fields, 70% this and all the athleticism, for him to get passed up by this many teams, for it to not really feel like there are that many teams trying to, like, I do wonder, I don't know if we'll ever know this.
11 teams passed on Deshaun Watson, 9 on Mahomes.
They're wrong. Yeah. Again, but no one was talking about Deshaun the whole month as if he was, other than Dabo, as if he was the level of prospect we were talking about with Justin. Right?
Justin has more physical gifts than Deshaun.
I wonder if there's something to that. That's all. It's something I've placed away in the back of my mind to remember.
What do you think about my Mac Jones take?
I think it's a good take. I think the thing that
would you agree that's universally kind of agreed upon, like great pick?
Yeah, but that tends to be like Bill. People even acted like Jarrett Stidham was a good pick when Bill made it because it was Bill. Now he's not in this position. I think part of what accelerates the compliments on Mac is that part of this is just how we talk about you. And you could counter my point on Justin Fields with this. We talk about you like you should go 3 and you go 11. We go, what happened? We talk about you like you should go 3 and you go 15. We go, great value, right? Great value for the Bears. Great value for the Patriots. We talk about you like you should go in the second round and you go in the first round. We go, why is that team reaching for you? Well, you could become a star. I heard Charles Davis today talking about Leatherwood, the Raiders pick. And he said, look, Travis, I think he said Travis Frederick was overdrafted. No one talks about it anymore because he became an all-pro for the Dallas Cowboys. So the way we talk about you is not necessarily real, like the way we in the media, like all of that.
Fans too. Yeah, I mean,
just everything. The way we talk about you, rightly or wrongly, does affect what we think about where you're drafted. Bottom line, though, I think in many ways he's in a good spot in New England. I do think there are some challenges from a personnel around him standpoint. I just don't think – I think you even think back to Brady's early years. You're not really asked to do that much. I don't know. I don't know what it's going to – I have a hard time right now envisioning Fields and the Bears, what it looks like, given that he doesn't have a ton of talent around him. But, yeah, I mean, if you asked me to predict bust potential, yes or no on Mac Jones, I'd go no. Yes or no on Fields, I'd go no. It's not going to work. Yes or no on Zach Wilson? I mean, I'd lean no. That the odds tell us 3 out of 5, 4 out of 5 guys don't hit. And when they all go in the top 15, you have to hit. So, no, I think your Mac Jones take is good. I understand why Bill has earned. It's kind of like when the Spurs draft a guy at 28. Everyone's like, oh, why didn't he go higher? Of course, the Spurs drafted DeJounte Murray.
Well, part of my point though, Guy, is that Bill has missed on so many picks the last couple years.
No, I know.
Like he gets credit for being an elite drafter.
But he did draft.
He's an elite coach.
His quarterbacks, Jimmy, right? Good pick.
Well,
Jacoby
if you
Brissett.
This is the highest quarterback he's ever drafted. Jacoby and Jimmy. But he also Ryan Mallett, Kevin O'Connell, who's now the offensive coordinator for the Rams. Like he's drafted other quarterbacks now in the mid rounds. So it's like, am I crushing a missed pick in the 4th round? Like, is that really a big deal? 5th round? Like Jimmy, he nailed, right? You can't ask for anything more than a 2nd round pick out of Jimmy Garoppolo, right? And he wasn't like pick 32. He was at the 64 or whatever he was. Jacoby was a 3rd rounder and played for multiple teams. Like that's pretty awesome. Like as a 3rd round pick, like Jacoby, would you say Jacoby Brissett dramatically better than like CJ Beathard?
Yes. Not even close.
Not even close.
Jags
like
pick.
The
Jags
Niners,
pick is in at
the Niners
33.
would have rather had Jacoby the last 3 years as the backup than those two guys, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Corner.
Oh, Tyson Campbell, John. The thing about Tyson Campbell, 3 things stand out to me. Track speed. I think the thing I love the most, always in phase. And the 3rd thing I love the most was something about ball skills. I don't really want to get into it. I think these NFL these TV networks, they've got so much technology and they got so many people and they need to use all the technology they have. They're always all the graphics. Some of this is so over the top. The blue cone. Did you see the thing on Instagram last night? I'm watching last night and they're showing Zach Wilson's pro day. It's 2 people on the field. Zach Wilson and the quarterback. And they put the big blue glowing cone over him and follow him around. And they waste so much time showing me nothing. Oh, the trail on the football. Thanks. The hell is that? He's not throwing a curveball. I don't care about the trail on the football.
It was pretty sweet, the cone that follows Zach Wilson. Though.
Again, it's cool, but it's completely pointless.
It's not for you though, or me, or the GM. It's for the casual fan, right?
John, there's literally no one else on the field but Zach Wilson. Why do I need a cone around him? I know which guy I'm watching.
Yeah, it's a little.
Now, on that right there, that's helpful. Like, who am I watching? What am I looking at? It's not always bad. I'm just saying it gets overused because Gary, the graphics guy, is scheduled to be in tonight at 5. Like, we got anything we can have Gary work on? Yeah, let's have him put a cone around Zach Wilson at his own pro day. I mean, I'm telling you, it's such a waste.
I think when
I see it all the time.
I had to do something like put a circle around a corner for Joe Banner. Like Joe Banner, at the time he was the president, like he was going to watch a fucking corner. Like he would know the difference between a corner and a linebacker. I do think it's underrated thing about the NFL, how many random people in probably certain organizations that have the ear of the owner that have just not like in the draft room, like leading up to the draft, but just have opinions on guys that have no fucking clue what they're talking about. I mean, none. And some of these football guys have moments where they want to kill them. And I do think when you get to a point, if you're a football guy and you've just slept a couple hours and you've just broken, like you can't, there have probably been so many blowups historically inside the walls of football buildings that have never leaked out. For every one we've ever read about, can you imagine? Just they're tense anyway. They're an edgy group. They're used to yelling at people. That's the thing. Like, if you ever, like when we were worked in the radio, if there was a legit screaming match, it would really stand out. But in football, like guys are just getting yelled at nonstop. Players are yelling at each other. Coaches are yelling at players. Coaches are yelling at coaches. So it's like, it's not, you might just keep walking if you're walking down the hall. Most players are like, I don't want any part of that. Just keep on moving. Where if it's a normal office building, if people started yelling at each other, wouldn't you say the whole place would stop? Right?
Absolutely. I remember a former workplace of ours, there was a shouting match between 2 people. We were long gone. One of our moles gave us the full breakdown of it, and I was completely fascinated because it's so out of the norm. So out of the norm.
Yeah.
It's not normal. You've always said that. It's just not. It's not these work environments.
Well, it doesn't parallel like the insurance company with 100 guys on the ground floor, right?
But like here's an example, right? I was talking to Jeff Schwartz about this the other day because he was saying,
He's used to getting yelled at the most.
He said he had an offensive line coach that used to say something like, I don't care about how much you had to push. I just want to see the baby, right? Which is basically like just show me the result. I don't care how hard you work. And that, like, only a dude could say that. Because a woman would be like, shut the hell up. Easy for you to say, Mr. Waiting in the lobby, hitting the snack machine, right? I always, kill the head, the body will die. Like, you talk like that in any other workplace. Even the NFL was like, that's too far. We can't have people knowing that we talk like this, right? But the key was not stop talking like this. It's just stop, letting people find out that we talk like this.
To me, I actually thought the kill the head, the body will die. There was stuff, like, I think where he crossed the line was told about going after knees, right?
Yeah.
Yank on. And did he call Crabtree a pussy, or was that Vernon Davis? He went down the line of them all.
Yeah, it was like take out Frank Gore's knees. Wasn't that one of them?
The craziest part looking back of that moment is someone in the meeting room for a playoff game filmed what the guy was saying. Right?
Yeah.
Like that wasn't like, just this 3-win team. These guys had enough. Like, those are two teams that can win the fucking Super Bowl.
I remember we went to a Niners. Who was Browns game? Who was Greg Williams working for? The
Rams.
night we saw him on the Rams. And he was back there. He was just like standing in the end zone pregame. And
he was Jeff Fisher's defensive coordinator.
Okay. I just watched him. I think you were there with me. I just watched him for a little while and was like, yeah, I could see how somebody would film this guy. Just be pissed at him, hate him, want to throw him under the bus.
I mean, he legitimately has probably a top 5 ego in the NFL. And I remember looking at him on the sideline. He just looked like a guy with a huge ego. I mean, just
First of all,
massive.
his glasses are like Gucci. I was like, that's okay.
Well, I mean, you're talking about a guy who's probably been making
rich guy.
$2 million.
Plenty of people wear Gucci glasses. Not big ego people. I just remember the whole package. Just the interactions, everything, all the little details. Elijah Moore, this is the guy we were talking about yesterday on the stream, John, goes to Ole Miss.
To me, why it's a bigger red flag on the Gucci glasses, because if you tell me a wide receiver coach or an offensive coordinator, like if you told me Joe Brady had Gucci glasses, I'd be like, yeah, I kind of a little swagged out. Do you think Vic Fangio? Like, I kind of want my defensive coordinator like down in the gutter.
I want to know you got those readers at CVS.
Yeah, well, I want a guy just in the mud, and that's where is Robert Saleh a little. Now I think he's got a little Pete Carroll, but Pete Carroll, like when you see him, he doesn't feel like a guy worth probably $50 million in the bank or $100 million in the bank when you just see him walk by, right? It's just like, kind of coach, right? I'll give Pete that. He just gives off this kind of energetic vibe, but he's got the big shoes.
Yeah,
his GM is just a mess.
His
GM to me feels just all football, right? It's the only thing he thought of when we saw him, and he didn't have socks, and they had to give him, or he had like the Nike team socks because he, I'm sure, forgot his socks. It might have been a Thursday night game, so he forgot them. Like, all he's thinking about is like, the practice squad. Like, I appreciate that, and he's king of, right? Like, Russell Wilson's camp's getting pissed because he's going to pro days. Like, yeah, I want to go to pro days. Like, I like pro days. Most GMs in his note, I ain't going to pro days.
Somebody in the comments just said Atlanta traded back. Denver is now up at 35. Could Denver be taking
Kyle Trask?
I would draft Davis Mills ahead of Kyle Trask. Let me just get on the record with that today. I've heard, John, that Washington football team at 51 really likes Davis Mills. We'll see if they would take him. Ron Rivera.
You know where I do not believe in the second round quarterback.
I know.
Derek
Carr. Jimmy Garoppolo.
Those two are outliers. Most of these guys, they have one on their team, Drew Lock. If this is a quarterback, the pressure of that guy, what's that guy known as? Well, let's see him play. Let's just put Kyle Trask in. Let's put Davis Mills in. You just view him like a starter, and his contract shorter. I don't like doing that. To me, so you're saying that you would have rather had Davis Mills or Kyle Trask or Sims guy Kellen Mond or whoever than Justin Fields at 9? Like, you'd rather have that. To me seems crazy.
Kyle Trask could play 5 more years and would never be a top 10 quarterback. Davis Mills,
Fangio.
I think people think could have been a top 10 quarterback if he'd played a full season. I know.
See, Fangio is what I like. He ain't putting on a suit and tie. He's just got like some pullover that his wife bought for him at a country club. He's got a polo on. He's there to work.
Maybe this is my guy. I'm with you. I just want to get this in before the pick is in. Maybe this is my guy, Nick Bolton from Missouri. So watch 7 highlights of him yesterday, John, and then an in-depth feature about how his sister and mom overcame cancer today. I'm all in on Nick Bolton.
Is Philip Lindsay still on their team? They cut him.
No, he's gone.
Could he be a running back here? It could be a running back. Feels like a quarterback. Lewis is big on like doing crazy mannerisms, having someone in the background take some pictures of him, and then posting them after the event of like just in the zone. And Lewis is like,
"Who's taking these photos?"
We get it, Lewis. Who's taking it? If you told me it was like your wife or something, I'd get it. But are you having like a production assistant to be like, hey, snap a couple shots throughout the broadcast and text them to me?
Philip Lindsay's on the Texans, John. Thank you. Harrowing wisdom.
The chair's
I like
still
Philip
there.
Lindsay a lot. What's that? The chair's still there?
Chair's still there. There's something to be said about a guy that played football in like, or just basketball too, 60s, 70s, 80s, and you see them in their 60s or 70s, and their walk, you're like, oh, that guy was an athlete. He's like dragging a leg, or his hip
Always
doesn't work
the
right.
coach walk, I like to call it.
Coaches just walk that way because they just stand all the time.
Usually it involves one leg coming this way, kind of dragging a little bit.
But the athlete is like, they traded up for running back. The guy there.
Oh, you like this guy? Didn't you tell me about it?
Well, I mean, I have people in the league that thought he could be as good of a pro as any running back in this draft. Right now, they got this guy. They have Noah Fant. They got Jerry Jeudy. They got Patrick, another wide receiver. They got KJ Hamler. Their offensive line, from my scouting buddies, said they're actually pretty good. You remember the Utah Bowls kid that everyone claimed sucked for a couple years? He's good now. Like, you know what's novel concept?
Isn't he like a fourth-year player? Isn't he like fifth year in the league, like 32 years old?
Yeah, he's got a little Danny Watkins thing, but he got good. Like, he's just a good player.
28.
Like, they are pretty set up. Like, hey, Aaron, you want to come live, be Peyton's and Elway's neighbor and be the coach or the quarterback of the Broncos and kick everyone's ass?
So, the Broncos drafted basically the help for Aaron Rodgers that the Packers would not. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I heard today, do you know that the Packers have taken defensive players in the first round 9 of the last 10 years, and the other one was Jordan Love?
I remember that stat like last year that there was some weird stat. No, I did not know that.
9 of 10 years, and the 10th is Jordan Love. Now, it's hard. I heard a stat like last year, the quarterback rating, Jair Alexander was like 30. You know, he's like an all-pro. Every other corner on the team was like 90 plus. Like, they're just getting roasted. So it's like, our corners suck, guys. I mean, you want our defense to not be good? Like, this is a team game. This guy we thought's better than a wide receiver. Like, they're not taking these players, or they did Jordan Love in spite of Rodgers, but they didn't take the corner last night as a fuck you to Rodgers, even though it does feel that way. It's like, just keep kicking dirt on him.
Does not feel helpful. Pookie,
No.
This guy's nickname is Pookie, which I love.
I think there was a guy that played at Fresno State with that nickname, Pookie.
Pookie?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
I don't know if that was like people called, like the fans didn't call him that. Like people just that knew him called him that.
It's a great nickname.
Could be wrong though.
I wish my nickname was Pookie. You guys can all start calling me Pookie instead of Hey.
Look at these guys.
Dolphins. All right, so Dolphins are on the clock. This is another one of the picks they got from Houston, by the way.
I looked up. I'm like, who these guys play with like Mercury Morris? It's the Isley brothers.
You thought it was the 72 Dolphins?
I thought it was like, oh, that's Greasy's dad's running back and his slot receiver.
Where's Zonka?
The Isley brothers.
That's incredible.
You know what would suck?
What?
If you grew up, right? If you were, let's say, 65, and you've been a diehard Dolphins fan, when you were growing up and then like into your young adulthood, right, in your 30s, 40s, they were a powerhouse, right? It's like kicking everyone's ass in the 70s, going to war with the Steelers and the Raiders. Then boom, a little down, get Marino, and you just like, and that now for like the last 20 years, you're like, what the fuck? It's been a long 20 years if you've been in it for the long haul. Because usually once you hit a certain age, you're not going to jump teams. You're just like, I'm a Dolphins fan. They're who I watch, but God, it sucks. You had one little glimpse with Tony Sprono, rest in peace. But that you're like, well, Brady tore his ACL that year. It's been a long, like 25 years for them post Marino. And now you're like, we finally got a quarterback. Is he any good?
Did we pick the wrong guy?
Yeah, like, hey guys, I watched Marino his whole career.
Eagles, John, I thought there was. Is this round 7 minutes and then the third round's 5, right? Clock is flying. Javon Holland.
Well, I think the one thing they tell you I think they tell you in the first round to milk it, right? They want to go 4 hours and get the TV ratings and produce cash. I don't think they really give a shit here because their inventory is 2 rounds, right? So you're not allowed to do the pick as in.
What do you
mean? Like in the NFL, like in the first round, you couldn't. Some of these teams know who they're going to take. They just wait 10 minutes, right? The NFL tells you to wait 10 minutes. That's why every pick last night goes down to the 1 minute mark.
Right.
No one takes it at 7. When I remember that picture that I Instagrammed the other day of me sitting there, as the rounds went on, I would get, don't turn it in right away. Jeffrey likes being on the clock. Because he's like
another shot of the draft room.
Yeah, don't milk this.
By the way,
that a lot. Milk this.
Did you see this last night? Penei Sewell's party. Did you notice all the way on the left?
Yeah, okay. I saw like Ravel tweeted about it.
So is that his brother wearing like the things on the leg? Is it like a sponsorship? Is that why Ravel tweeted it?
Was that the linebacker?
I don't know.
Because if it's a linebacker, you could just justify maybe he got a workout in, right?
Yeah, but he's wearing like a dress shirt, like he's showered.
But maybe he just would recover right then.
Yeah, maybe that's just his recovery time, but like he's wearing like the full leg, like, blood circulation cast thing. That was a weird one. The other thing.
I think I did see that Ravel or one of those type guys did say it was a sponsorship deal. There's a lot of sponsorship deals going on with this stuff. Is it kind of getting outrageous? And listen, I'm a whore too.
Hey, speaking of wineaccess.com/ham, get 20% off, John, right now. One order, 1 bottle, 30 bottles, 20% off. Satisfaction guaranteed. If you don't know a lot about wine, here's the good news. It's only good wine. Only 1 out of 18 bottles. It has to be unanimously approved by the Wine Access sommeliers and experts to get on. And if somehow by some crazy circumstance you don't love the bottle, whatever, satisfaction guarantee. They'll replace the bottle. If you know a lot about wine, you'll see all kinds of great bottles there. So check it out.
We'd sell you hats too if we had more. I'd sell you whatever. You guys want to buy a pen?
How about, I've gotten multiple photos now of children wearing ham hats. Like kids.
We're here for the youth.
So Justin in the comments here, John, just said Pats to 38. The Patriots just move up. This round things start happening pretty quickly.
Did you see, could you give me a scouting report on the Oregon safety that went to, I think the Dolphins?
Who drafted?
Holland?
I wonder if
Dolphins?
That
guy any good?
Yeah. I think he led the league in interceptions maybe 2 years ago. I wonder if they
James Holland?
Javon, Jev. I wonder if they scouted Penei a lot too and maybe came across him.
Well, I'm sure because Flores went to the Oregon Pro Day.
So he was an opt-out, but one of the better players on their team for sure.
They have so they had multiple guys opt out this year, huh?
Yeah, they had at least, I'm trying to remember if one of their corners opted out too.
So it's hard to judge their season. Like they lost Oregon State. I mean, they're missing.
They played
players.
4 games, 3 games, something like that.
But I mean, Oregon State beat them. Fair and square.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't supposed to be in the Pac-12 title game, I don't think. I can't even remember how it all played out. Wasn't UW supposed to be in the game? It couldn't play, so Oregon replaced them. I mean, it was weird.
Who they end up playing?
USC.
Oh, and they kicked their ass, huh?
Beat them, yeah.
But then they went to a bowl game and got their ass kicked.
That's right.
Who'd they play in the bowl game?
They played, remember it was in Arizona.
TCU? Texas?
I wanted
Someone,
to say Texas, but it wasn't.
They got shoved
Texas.
around pretty good. Ole Miss? No.
No, it wasn't Ole Miss.
It was Houston. It was ugly.
I would say, like, just based on watching him, he's a guy that makes plays on the ball. Good athlete. Not huge.
I just think you want, versatile. Is that Golick?
Golick actually did the Oregon game. The bowl game.
Mike Greenberg's talking about, it's kind of weird because I don't think they really like each other anymore.
Greenberg and Golick. They've made a lot of money over the years together, though.
No, a ton. But I do think
Iowa State. That's right. Ricardo says it was Iowa State. Thank you.
I think Golick, thinks Greeny did him dirty. Which, all fair. Listen, life's business. It's just a tough deal, but they had a hell of a run.
I don't know if they were ever like, I think it was business the whole time. You know what I mean?
I do think I remember seeing pictures of like their family and stuff when they were younger. At one point in time, they were by far the biggest sports morning radio show in America, right? Their competition was limited.
Forget about mornings, right? You would say them, Rome, DP. That was kind of it. Am I missing somebody?
In the 2000s?
Yeah.
They were bigger they weren't that big out here because obviously we were just not on the same time, right?
Yeah.
When I moved to Philly in 2010, they were pretty big. Who got Dickerson?
Alex Dickerson, Eagles.
That's a good pick.
Look at what Dickerson, excuse me.
What do you think the Eagles back-to-back Bama guys? Like, stop outthinking the room here. No Ragers, no Hertzes. Let's just take guys that are going to be good football players. Let's just take some blue-collar, nuts and bolts.
It's getting hard not to draft people's teammates.
Well, some of these teams, this is kind of the dominance of the 3 or 4 programs. They're just going to have, like, I remember when we were talking a lot going the lead up to the draft about, like, why are these teams doing double pro days? My buddy hits me up. He's like, I heard your take. You're just wrong. The reason they do the double pro days is because part of it's for the quarterback, but the other part was teams are only allowed to send 3 people. Well, if you have 12 draftable players, if you got Landon Dickerson, you got Patrick Surtain, you got Devontae Smith, I can't send all my position coaches to work them out, and I can't do individual workouts, so I have to stagger my workouts. They basically did it for the coaches in the league, so for the GMs. But think how many teams had to do too. It was basically the 3 main programs like Trey Lance, right? So Ohio State, the Alabama, Clemson, because just they have these guys going, and no one's like, I can't believe Dickerson. It's like these guys should be going. How many Bama guys have already gone?
1, 2
receivers,
2 O linemen, and a running back. 5. Oh,
and a quarterback,
and a quarterback 6. Has a
Surtain
7.
They're on 38, 7 to 38. What's that, like 25%? Okay, add it up again. You got Waddle.
No, sorry. I was just saying wait because the Pats are picking. I guess somebody else just traded up. Chicago has also traded up.
Davis Mills? Pace is like, I'm never missing again. I'm just going to draft quarterbacks.
So the Patriots just moved up with Cincinnati. Sorry, what were you saying? Yeah, so two receivers, 2 offensive linemen is 4. Quarterback is 5. Cornerback is 6.
Najee
7. 7 of the first 37 picks.
20% so far of the draft has been Alabama players. You wonder why I picked everyone's else?
The Eagles are now Jalen Hurts, Landon, Dickerson, Devontae Smith.
Another Alabama player. We got
Saban's like, tell me I don't play in the NFL.
Another Alabama player. That's 9.
Who?
Or is that the Patriots has drafted their defensive tackle.
Oh wow.
Is this how is anyone supposed to beat this team, guy? Hint,
crazy.
They don't. Did I text you this?
Well,
or maybe
Enrique's going to have to go soon now.
Maybe I tweeted this. I was definitely thinking it last night. Like, listen, Nick's the GOAT. It's incredible. I think I texted you this. It's incredible what the guy's doing, and clearly I think someone DM'd me the other day or within the last couple months talking draft, like, you do realize they arguably had their best recruiting class on paper like a year ago. Like their recruiting class the last couple years have been elite, even for their standards. How do they like this? These last 2 years have been a pretty crazy stretch of like elite talent. Like they used to in his heyday, 3 or 4 first rounders, and then he'd litter a guy in every round. Guy, he's had 8 picks in the top 38. Like that's, I don't care who you are. That's a lot of high-end talent to replace. It's not like, we lost a rotational guy in the 4th. Like 8 guys in the top 38. Is that a record? It's got to be up there.
I'll tell you, if they like, I already know. I haven't looked at it in 22 boards. Maybe somebody in the comments has. I really like just physically. John Mechie is like when you see John, because you see all the highlights of Waddle and Devontae. Anytime you see Mechie next to these guys, he's humongous. He's huge. I'll be interested. Like, are they just going to roll back again next year and have 2 first-round receivers in 2022?
Do you think he's emphasized? I'd be fascinated to know, like, in their offices, if they really put more of a premium now on the offensive side of the ball recruiting at wide receiver. Like, not that he didn't, right? Amari Julio, but, like, he takes extra effort. Like Patrick Surtain, for example. Everyone's coming after him. He's elite corner. Nick always put a premium, like making a lot of effort to get a Minka, Surtain. Like he's always landed those guys, right? It meant a lot to him to get the best DBs. I wonder if like he really goes to war now for the elite wide receivers. Like Mechie, he's like, I need to have fucking Mechie. Like a guy making all the plays at the spring game. They say he's a true freshman. Like that, I want that guy. Like he
what's
knows.
The guy's name? Like Elijah.
Yeah.
What's the guy's name?
I would imagine every team in the country. Like, is Nick putting more effort now with wide receivers than he used to 5-6 years ago? He talks like it, right? He talks like how important offense is. Why wouldn't he put more effort in recruiting?
Well, I wonder what he thinks as a defensive coach. Who are the hardest guys to stop in college football? Just the most talented wide receivers?
They're unstoppable. Well, those are the guys that give him hell, right?
So let me just go get all those guys. And then it starts feeding on itself. It's like Amari, boom, boom. These guys start hitting. They start going in the first round. I think they're probably, like you've pointed this out before, Amari's a good example. Devontae Smith, like all these guys are pretty high-level guys, it seems like. I'm sure they recruit each other.
Well, if you're Guy Haberman and live in, let's say, Arizona, you're the top 5 wide receiver in the country. But you're a West Coast guy. But, Arizona, you're not like.
For the Bears, they just went tackle. This guy's supposed to be good. Tevin Jenkins from Oklahoma State.
Yeah, this is like the type guy that people thought the Raiders should have taken. Wouldn't you go? Wait. So Amari's killing the league. Julio's still sweet. And then they just 4 guys the last 2 years have all gone. Really, the latest draft pick is Judy because these 2 guys went higher than both guys last year, right? Waddle went 6. When Devontae go 10. They went higher this year than those 2 guys went last year. And I think felt like those guys last year were really high.
Absolutely it did.
So if you were just some random going into your senior year, like Nick calls, why wouldn't you go there? Right? It's like, hey, man, we want you to come here and dominate. You're like, yeah. Can I be like Devontae Smith? Can I win the Heisman? Right?
Also, they've set this standard of like, yeah, you can play as a freshman, but yeah, you might also kind of wait your turn and whatever. It's going to be worth it. Right? Like you'll get your opportunity. You may not become the
whatever
star
path you take
right away, but you're going to get an opportunity. There's going to be enough passes out here for everybody if you're good enough to get on the field. Like we're going to throw the ball enough that you're all going to eat. And if you're here by year 3, you're going to have 3 years of just incredible tape, or at least 1 year of incredible tape.
More impressive dynasty. Bama, Patriots.
I tend to think just doing it at the pro level is more impressive.
You don't get, a bunch of first-round picks every year. I do think everyone would say the Patriots. I'll just push back on this. Obviously, I think you have a little less competition, right? I mean, technically the Patriots have 32 teams, but really what is it? Probably 7, 8 every year, right? It's probably closer to what Nick has to deal with.
Yeah, I mean,
true competition.
You have less room for error in the NFL. I mean, in college football. You can't lose 2 games.
Cannot. Every time he has, he's not. Now, he doesn't do it often, but they've missed a couple times, right, with a bad loss.
You do play a couple of games that are just, in the NFL, how many teams are really competing for the Super Bowl? You're right, 8. How many teams can actually beat you on a given day? Every single one of them. How many teams
for the most
cannot
part,
beat you on your schedule? Maybe 1 or 2.
I mean, on certain years, there are teams that are going to really suck, right? But I hear you. You have to take every game seriously. Where Alabama, they can take Vanderbilt a little lightly, and they're going to win
Nick has to replace all his players constantly.
every year.
Now, Bill did replace all his players constantly, but he had some guys that just never left. He had the same quarterback the whole time.
My overall point here is I think everyone would say the Patriots, and it almost diminishes. Like, I do think if you just look at the history of college football, what Nick's doing in this modern day era where it shouldn't be this easy, like everyone has access, national recruiting, all these teams now have huge cash. It is crazy how high his level is because everyone was like, LSU, greatest team of all time. I mean, maybe they just have a one-off year. They ain't never doing that again. Mm-hmm. Nick has done that several times. Right, and he consistently kicks their ass in the best conference where it's like, oh, well, their bottom feeders suck, but their top 2 or 3 teams every year are elite, and he beats them at a really, really high clip. Like Belichick, right? He always beat pretty consistently the Colts, the Steelers. That first Mahomes team, he beat them.
Falcons took Richie Grant from UCF.
I think the Niners are right around the corner here.
Well, the Niners are at 43, and so 41 is on the clock. This is wait, who did Atlanta get that pick from? Denver? Yeah.
Yeah, they
traded back with Denver. So Detroit, then the Giants, then the 49ers at 43.
A lot of money, Jason. I love a good center fielder. Ooh. I wonder how many guys in the history of football, you've been a relatively high pick, and like obviously when you get drafted, they show all your plays, and you just made plays in college. And then you get to the NFL and you realize you're just not good enough. You're like, my shit doesn't work.
I'm not fast enough.
There just has to be a lot of times over the last 30 years where guy was legitimately good in college and for whatever reason stepped slow, couldn't process fast enough. Like he's like, I'm doing everything I'm told to do. I can't do it. That has to be a very
it goes to a worse coach or a bad system.
Yeah, it's like you just can't. Maybe you get to a team with a really good player on the other end in practice who just ruined your confidence. You just spiral.
I would say I don't know if everyone in the chat feels this way, but I have seen a few people like Justin give me Asante, who want Asante Samuel Jr. to the 49ers. I do think it's pretty sweet. Like we've got all these.
A lot of kids.
Even more than G's kids in this draft.
Asante Samuel guy is not very old. Like Joe Horn, feels like a little late 90s, early 2000s. Asante Samuel was playing like 6 years ago. Asante Samuel, my guess would be 41.
Yeah, I mean, his kid's 21.
How old do you think he is? If you had to guess.
When was the year in Philly? Like, was he on the Eagles when you were on the Eagles?
Yeah, he was a Pro Bowl guy. He's 40. He was born in 1981.
When did he retire?
I think he just kind of ran out of steam.
But when did that happen? What was his last year in the league? Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's been a while. 13.
Dolphins just jumped ahead of the Niners. Dolphins just jumped to 42 with the Giants. So Gettleman was like, you guys say I never trade back? Watch this. And now he's just trading back in both rounds. Wasn't that the stat? Gettleman's never traded back?
He just traded back, you're saying?
Yeah, chat says that the Dolphins have traded into the 42nd spot ahead of the 49ers.
You think they want the same guy?
Asante Samuel?
Do the Niners need a corner?
He's from Florida.
He could go to UCF.
Went to Florida State. You don't like him though. You won't like him though because he's 5'10".
Well, the Niners wouldn't like it. They like taller corners too.
But you would think, but Jason Verrett works for them.
But he was like an elite blue chip first rounder who they've kind of resurrected. Yeah, maybe these two teams are. What do the Niners really need? I mean, I'm always a sucker for a skill guy, so you give me a running back, I'll smile.
Kendrick Bourne's replacement.
Could you take? I mean, is it a pass rusher? I'm never against pass rushers.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's.
It's not a great
value in it right now.
Could you take like a guard? You can never go wrong taking a guard. Usually take like a DB here.
Safety. Take another safety.
Don't they have like 17? Jimmy, Tart, Moore.
Moore,
I just don't know how many safeties you need. I mean, let's
Harris.
Is there a sweet running back I haven't thought of? I'm not that big on taking second round corners. McGlinchey's replacement. That's the thing about the NFL. It's just the NBA. You just end up with one guy. Like in the NFL, even if you do feel pretty confident, they're probably going to draft someone at your position most years, right? If you're just a wide receiver, like another wide receiver shows up. And it's just, you might realize earlier, like, God, this guy's not bad, right? How often do guys think about that? Like, God, this guy's fucking pretty good.
What if
even random guys, like 6-rounders immediately, like, God, this guy belongs.
Yeah. What if the Niners went tackle? Would that alarm you?
Well, I would just not understand it and be like, why would you pick up a 50-year option and take a tackle? You just paid another guy $700 million to play left tackle, and you picked up McGlinchey's option. I'm going to go
receiver.
I bet it's just something on defense. You think they take a receiver? That'd be like
I think that like even
receiver.
Richie James, like I don't think I'd be surprised if they went receiver, but if they loved one of these guys like Marshall, I think it's probably too early for Fehoko, but he ran really fast.
Washington defensive tackle?
Yeah, I mean, I just said that when
How many
Alabama
Pac-12 guys opted out? Jeez.
Onwuzurike. Oh, the Lions just took him? See, did the Lions just take Onwuzurike?
Yeah.
That's what I said 2 seconds ago, I think.
He's
after
6.5,
went.
300? God.
Niners trade pick to the Raiders. So.
Oh, my God. You see that? I like this Onwuzurike guy. As Pat Hill would say, you can never make a highlight tape. Everyone can look sweet.
Yeah.
A little stiff.
The
Raiders,
if they just traded back, that means the Dolphins might have taken who they want.
You think the Niners wanted Onwuzurike?
No. Oh, yeah, or they might have wanted him. I mean, the Niners, I think, do like some Pac-12 guys, and if they wanted another defensive tackle, it kind of felt like there were two guys at the top of the draft for that position.
How many defensive tackles they need, guy? They got Kinlaw, they got Armstead. I mean, like I said, can never go wrong. Never go wrong taking linemen. I'm a big pivot off my philosophies. I'm like, always take a lineman. Then I'm like, how many fucking linemen you need?
You know who you like then? You like Ozzie Newsome. So Niners go from 43 to 48. Raiders come up from 48 to 43. Raiders going to take Merrick, the safety from TCU.
Why wouldn't the Niners take him?
Well, now they trade it back. I'm just saying. Niners could always use more picks.
I don't like Twitter. So
the Niners don't have their third-round pick, and the Niners don't have their third. They got a.
What do you think about this? Raiders got 43 and a 7th-round pick for pick 48 and pick 121. So it's a 4th-rounder. You like that deal? Move back 5 spots, get a 4th?
121? I thought, or not 122?
Don't they? Yeah, someone wrote 121. It could be wrong.
Whatever.
Yeah, 121. Do you think it'll ruffle some feathers if the Raiders take one of the 2 quarterbacks here?
Quarterbacks?
Quarterbacks. You can't take a quarterback here, right?
Trade one of them to Seattle for Russ, and the other one goes to Green Bay.
You agree if they take a quarterback here?
Dolphins took a tackle.
They're having a disastrous draft if they waste a pick on a quarterback right here. They just re-signed Mariota for cheap.
What makes you? If they take a,
well, I don't know. I mean, you can never sleep on Crazy Man. He's crazy. I just think just be ready for the unexpected. Everyone's like, I bet they're gonna take a linebacker. I don't know. Safety coming. You're maybe right. They take the TCU guy, who I think they'd argue, okay, well, you guys wanted to mock us the TCU guy in the first. We just flip-flopped him. We got the guy that everyone wanted to take in the second. We took him in the first. We got the guy that we were going to take in the first. We took him in the second.
I don't think you get credit for that, do you? I saw Charles Davis today. They were like, what pick surprised you? He's like, I think everybody was most surprised by the Raiders pick. And everyone's on the stage like, well, yeah, it's hard to top that one.
It's happened now 3 years in a row where I think universally they don't have a great feel for the value of a player. And, I understand that it takes 2 to tango. You can't. You need someone to dance with you, right? So their beef with Cleveland Farrell was no one would trade back. I have a hard time thinking in this draft where a lot of moving parts, you couldn't get from like 17 to like 25 or just, You couldn't somehow get away back? It doesn't feel they're great at trading. Would you agree there? Back?
It feels like what happens a lot is they're not good at trading back. And it's like, well, there wasn't anyone to trade back with. So we just
you can always trade up. You're like, wait, you'll give me what? Okay, cool. It's trading back is a little more wheeling and dealing. I think that's part of why Gettleman gets shit on, because it's like, does he know what he's doing? Trading back is a skill trading up you and I could do. Hey, we'll give you an extra second.
Because you just throw way more at somebody than they.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a good point. I mean, the skill in trading up, though, is knowing, if you need to get ahead of somebody, there is a skill in that.
I think part of trading back, if you got elite GMs to tell you the truth, which they clearly don't talk about this that much, I think a lot of it is the lead up to the draft. It's the fact-finding missions, knowing who's going to be where, and then having kind of plans in place. Even if we just had conversations, you're a GM and I'm a GM, like, hey, man, if we get to a point, if you're interested, we might be open to trading back at the right spot. And you'd be like, yeah, we'd be open to trading up if the right guy falls. So you have like 3 or 4 contingency plans. It feels like Gruden and Mayock, if you told me they just live in the film room and just fucking grind the tape and stack the board and all they care about is like the draft's here. It's like, well, guys, there's more to the draft than just the board of magnets, right? They're like, we got our magnets. We got our guys. I got my top 5 at every position I did at NFL Network. I'm not even trying to make fun of them. I respect like their work ethic. I don't think we know the evidence is in. They're not great at wheeling and dealing. That is not their thing.
No, they just want to take the guys they like, wherever they like them.
And they don't give a shit about, quote unquote, your perceived value.
Their mantra is like what Kyle Shanahan said on Monday. If you like him at 12, you like him at 3.
My pushback is like, well, guys, you've now had consistently in several drafts people go, no chance on God's green earth that guy was going there. What are you doing, right?
You could have gotten him later, or you could have moved back and gotten more picks. Sean asked, why has no one taken a quarterback? I'll repeat for the new people. My prediction is Davis Mills goes to Washington at 51, goes to play for the football team.
They got him.
Merrick?
The TCU safety, yeah.
Trayvon Merrick.
Here's what no one can say about John Gruden's defense. They didn't invest in the defensive backfield. Arnett, first rounder. Abram, first rounder. This kid, early second rounder. Mullen, early second rounder.
Carl Joseph?
Back. They once drafted him in the first round.
Not really Gruden's investment. But
these are 3 first rounders and 2 second rounders in your backfield that you drafted. You're right. One of them by Reggie, who's actually sneaky, kind of been redeemed over time. Like, he's not that terrible.
Yeah.
Say what you want about Reggie. Like, he left the team with a starting quarterback, a star defensive end that could accumulate picks, and same with the wide receiver.
It's not most GMs do not get you basically a set of triplets, core
some
of
foundation
3.
pieces. What about
and a good offensive line?
Yeah.
Oh, John, NFL has just alerted me that the Niners traded down, so thanks for that update.
Way to be on top of it.
Melifonwu, Niners just cut him, actually. That was not a great pick.
Obi?
Yeah.
He's got a brother in the league, I think, too.
Do you think that's the guy the Niners cut?
I thought Obi was somewhere else, but I don't know. I stopped really paying attention to Obi Menifalu. Remember, he was like, they took Carl Joseph, who's about a 5'6" safety. Then Obi Menifalu is like a 6'7" safety. So they tried to balance it out and just get in the middle.
6'4".
He was huge. I just remember looking at him like, yeah, this guy looks a little awkward. Twitter is way ahead of the broadcast.
Yeah, I've stopped. We must have the commenters on Twitter because I'm taking their word for it right now as we're looking. I've actually watched the ESPN.com tracker. Like, it's pretty quick. Like, Cowboys have 2.5 minutes. Cowboys pick is in. Like, let's go. I appreciate it. Those are cool new era hats.
What channel are you watching?
I got them both on. But that's on, what is that? I can't tell. Their graphics look exactly the same. They are the same. Well, no, maybe not. Yeah, they are.
The circular thing?
Well, I just mean like the bottom of the screen, like the pick information is all the same.
Well, in fairness, like how many colors can you use?
I just mean they're using the exact same graphics at the bottom of ESPN and NFL Network. I mean, you notice there's just a lot of cross-pollination. Joel Klatt from Fox, Charles Davis from CBS. Like, they're just using – everybody's basically under the NFL umbrella, you know?
Good point.
Seth said
I think
turn off
everyone
the
in a weird
Schefter
way with the
notifications.
money on the
No, keep
line
them.
has just eventually kind of merged. I noticed that sometimes, like, more in golf, I feel like I'm on like TNT. Is that Jim Nance calling this thing?
Yeah.
Like, how it happens a lot. It throws me off. But in football, obviously the game, you know the guy calling it. But this draft, this is a good point. Like, I just see like all these guys, all these different networks are all in the same set.
Yeah,
together.
I think what you start to see is just the real shot callers the league, and they just want it to be the best product it can be. The real shot callers the PGA Tour, and they just want it to be the best product it can be.
So you think like CBS, like we want one of our guys up there, you know? Fox goes, we want one of our guys up there. We're paying for it.
Yeah, it could be that. I thought it could be that. I just think let's just take the biggest people from everywhere and put them all together, and that just makes our product great, and it's great for all our partners. Elijah Molden at 48 to the Jets, says the stream. 48 to the Jets. Wait a second.
This is what's his name? Remember they talk
Oh,
shit?
that's a prediction. Sorry.
This is
Molden gone?
Drew Pearson. Remember him a couple years ago?
Yes.
What'd he say? I made my career in this town. Or I made the team against you guys or something when they were in Philly. Didn't Drew Pearson just get into the Hall of Fame like last year as like a senior member, I think. I like this guy. I didn't know much about Drew Pearson. But I like Drew Pearson. Drew Pearson's bringing it, guy. This guy is just energy. I feel like Jerry, he made an impression with Jerry, and Jerry keeps rolling him out. I can't believe they're not showing Jerry right now watching this.
Jerry might not be in the room. Michael, who are you talking about, Michael? Michael tweeting about Rappaport. Who are you responding to about hurt players?
Say that again?
Rappaport just said on Twitter he injured his back while training. I'm not sure who he's talking about. You talking about Asante Samuel or Molden?
No, he's talking about the Raider safety. He said, why did Morrig, it's hard name to say,
I think,
slide to 43? Source said he injured his back while training. He wore tape on it at his workout. Scouts noticed. Don't keep an eye on those scouts. Then got an MRI that revealed some issues. Whoa. So it's like, hey, guys, we got some tape on that back. Do you know what I would have told Trevon not to do? Fuck it. Don't even work out.
I would have said the same.
Yeah, he was like pretty consistently talked about being like a top 20 pick. He has tape on his back. It feels like in the NBA they hide stuff way better than the NFL.
And
like,
because
make that guy
NBA guys just don't work out and don't get physicals.
They just refuse.
Yeah, they're just like, no, I'm good. Well, I guess you want to play for us. Yeah, you're right. I don't.
Well, if I'm like Trevon's agent, there's Jerry. Jerry loves it. McCarthy, I'd smile a little more. I should have fired your ass.
After week 1.
If I have tape on my back, I'm wearing a longer sleeve shirt or something.
Tucking
not
my
revealing.
shirt in. Do
I
the
think it's
thing
hard
where you
to
use double-sided tape to keep it taped to yourself.
But it comes out naturally because you're high pointing balls.
You just got to wear one of those onesies, Wear like a full.
Think about that.
Suit.
Some random scout in jeans, a pullover, and tennies cost that guy a lot of money.
I wondered, did they all notice, or was one guy like, "Did I just see some tape? Is his back tape?"
Now, is it as simple as he just went to the Indianapolis recheck and it got flagged? I mean, could it just be that he had to go to the recheck, to the medical? Stanford tackle. This
Walker
guy's pretty
Little.
good.
Yeah.
He's been hurt though, hasn't he?
Yeah. But he's
I mean,
like premium
what are they doing
prospect.
at Stanford? It feels like they got a lot of injuries going on over there lately. Bryce Love, a little blast past.
Bryce Love just got cut.
Well, to me, sneaky bad sign. The highlights of this guy are like 3 years old.
Well, yeah, he opted out last year. He got hurt in the opener the year before that. So he hasn't played since 2018.
Did he opt out because he was afraid to get injured? Probably. I mean,
yeah. I mean, he opted out. He got hurt. Week
opening
1.
weekend,
Right.
2019. There's JJ Ortega-Whiteside. His highlight tape is a bunch of guys that have been in the league for like 3 years.
I mean, here's the thing: if you're Walker Little, because I think he was going to be like a top 15, top 10 type.
Yeah, I mean, he's just the highlights are big time. He's a good player.
So he just got drafted in the second round, top of the second round, after not playing for 2 years, coming off a knee injury. That's a high level talent, right?
Well, Dickerson got drafted with a torn ACL.
Yeah, but at least Dickerson, this guy we haven't even seen him in 2 years. Dickerson at least was doing cartwheels.
But I think both guys I just think you see Dickerson, this guy, both of them. I talked to someone yesterday about Dickerson. They're like, he's a pretty big medical red flag. I mean, he's tore his ACL like 3 times. Little. It just shows you, like, Littles, the Dickersons, you're so talented. Everyone thinks you're a raging medical red flag, and you still go like 42, 45. Like, that's...
He was a 5-star recruit,
crazy.
number 3 recruit out of the state of Texas.
Little?
Walker Little. Yeah, Jeff Akuda was like one of the guys ahead of him in that recruiting class. The
good
number
get,
9 overall recruit in 2017 out of college. Played baseball, basketball, football, lacrosse, and linebacker.
Lax,
bro.
What do you do, bro? I just
that?
lax. Is that Brandon Marshall?
Yeah, but why would he be there for the Bengals?
Is that Brandon Marshall?
I don't know.
I don't think it is. Kind of looks like him, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Brandon Marshall's like 6'4". Roger would have to be on his tippy toes. Yeah, he didn't. I mean, why would Brandon be there for the Bengals? Unless he played for the Bengals when we forgot.
Bengals going to take another receiver, you think?
Yeah, it's not.
Appreciate you. If you guys are hanging out, like the video while you're here. We appreciate that. Yeah, I forgot about this part of all the time this takes. So,
I don't even know. Do you know who Means Cameron is? I got no clue.
Maybe it's like a feel-good story situation. Might not be I don't know,
one thing for Roger, for a guy that makes like
Sweet jacket, though.
$30 to $50 million for the last decade, he does dress relatively just not very flashy. Would you agree there? Like, I never see him like just like, oh, that's just a strong blazer.
Yeah,
he just
very basic.
He's very kind of presidential. It's just very black and white, just blue, dark grays. Like, I've never seen him wear a suit that would go like, that's really pushing the envelope.
No.
He has probably a million blue shirts, the same. Now it's probably, what's a nice shirt for a rich guy cost you? $500?
Nah, I mean, if it's custom, no, it doesn't have to cost $500.
$250.
Yeah, if it's custom. He's a big guy, a lot of fabric. Chargers are on the clock.
Do you think he's got RG on the inside of stuff?
Doesn't A-Rod put like his name on the pocket? Like, I think I've seen that on Instagram.
I'm A-Rodded out.
Rodgers? What do we got here? This is pick. We're on 47. So the Niners will be coming up after the Chargers here. Got it.
I give DJ, Kuiper, Lewis, like, if you're going to be on the desk for the entire draft, that's a lot.
Here's the thing for people. I know people that want a corner, like, okay, Asante Samuel Jr. is 5'10", Elijah Molden's 5'10".
Not taking a corner.
You know, like you said, Melifon was available. He's 6'3". How about you want to take? How about this? You want to take the tackle from North Dakota State, Dylan Radins, 6'6", 301.
Could you trade McGlinchey for like a third and just eat it and move on?
A third?
Well, you ain't getting any. I mean, it's third rich.
Feels like it is. Would you trade a third?
Fuck no.
Draft Fred Warner's replacement? Just kidding.
What about Trey Sermon, the running back from Ohio State that dominates? I wouldn't mind that guy. I just like running backs. That's one thing.
You like them in this range, middle of the second round?
I just like I just want a bell cow. I'm a sucker for a bell cow. Like, okay, let's go to war. Like, you got Kittle, you got Debo every other game because he's got a hammy. You got Ayuk, and we got whoever. The Kyle's like, we got 7 of them. Well, and it kind of works, but one thing you realize with running back committee, they're not all equal. Like, there is a pecking order. So, like, once Mozart misses a month, you're like, God, we kind of miss that guy.
Yeah.
That's one nice thing about, like, yeah, we just got Alvin Kamara. Hey, guys, we just got, I don't know, Josh Jacobs. Like, we just got Cam Akers, Chris Carson. Now, you can have other players, but I like just having one guy that's going, our guy is going to run it down your fucking throat. Kyle's like, I got 17 of them. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of cool, I guess. Can we just get one sweet guy? That would be me in a draft room. And again, when at Fresno State, we had Ryan Matthews. When I got to the Eagles, we had Shady. I just like having one. I like relying on a guy.
I mean, I like that in theory. I don't know that Trey Sermon's a senior running back.
You watch that guy break records?
Yeah.
Again, I'm just trying to build champions.
I don't know if I want him right here. People are saying Asante to the Chargers.
Is Wisnowski on the hot seat? How about a new punter?
No, remember, Shanahan doesn't want to watch special teams tape for another decade.
No, I don't blame him.
You like? How about your boy Ronnie Perkins from Oklahoma?
Yeah, I mean, to me, my Oklahoma running backs, like, they either pop or they don't.
End, sorry.
Oh. You can convince me on wide receiver. I want a playmaker.
So you want like Terrace Marshall, Rondale Moore. I don't know if I'd want to. I mean,
one thing about Asante, the dad, he had serious swag. Like, he just brought you some juice. If his kid's like that, I'm cool with him. Like, bring him. I like this guy's look.
Hank Bauer, 3-time NFL Special Team Player of the Year.
Was that the Hank Bauer that was also their play-by-play voice for a long time?
I don't
remember.
I don't know.
The Greg Papa was good friends with and got fired.
Not familiar with him. I know of a Hank Bauer that was a baseball manager. I'm not familiar with this. If that's the case, I don't know much about their radio team.
Hank Bauer played for the Yankees.
Yeah, that's not this guy.
I remember meeting Hank Bauer with Greg Papa at a Charger game. After retiring from professional football, he coached running backs and special teams for years with the Chargers. He then became a sports anchor from 87 to 02. From 98 to 14, I guess he wasn't the play-by-play voice, but he was, for, I guess, basically him and Greg the whole time, right? 98 to 14, he was the color commentator for the Chargers on the radio. Basically, he was just coming. Yeah, it's a long time.
I love this pick for the Chargers.
This is what the Chargers suspended Bauer for one game in 14 after he made an anti-Semitic joke during the game. Bauer apologized the day after. The remark was publicized by Deadspin. Although the Anti-Defamation League called an apology inadequate, after the season, the Chargers let him go. I don't remember that, do you?
No, but I didn't. I had no recollection of Hank Bauer. I don't remember coming across him. I'll have to do a little. It was a preseason game against the Niners, where he used a poor choice of words.
They took Asante.
I know we've been talking about that. I thought.
I love it. I didn't know the Chargers took him.
To your point, like, I think it's a pretty easy team to have some swag for. Elijah Molden's dad played in the league too. Played for the Saints, I think. Played for like 8-10 years. I'm trying to find what Bauer said.
See Mel's best available. The Niners need a guard, a center. Well, they just signed a center, but he's old. Defensive tackle. So you're right. I think they wanted the dude from Washington. What was his comment?
So he's doing the game. Wait, you think the Niners wanted Onwuzurike?
Yeah, Miami jumped him.
How did Miami know what they were up to?
Maybe
Onwuzurike's agent. You think Onwuzurike's agent is like Justin Fields' agent, Mac Jones' agent, felt used, pissed?
You never know. I mean, for everyone that's happy, there are going to be some pissed off people.
So here's this: the San Diego Union Tribune has a transcript of the incident. Do you want to read it?
No, I mean you're Jewish.
Oh, I should read it.
Yeah,
I'll do it after the Niners pick. The Niners pick is in.
Is your just skimming through it? Like, is it pretty over the top? Is it offensive?
I mean, he did not use a slur or anything like that, so I got no problem reading it. But it was just, it's one of those, like, do people just not like you? If they liked you, I don't know. Okay, let's see. John's laughing, talking to the guy. You think?
Who's laughing?
John Lynch, on the other channel.
Is NFL Network? Yeah, I'm done with Booger.
Yeah, NFL Network.
I'm done with Boog.
Yeah, no. Onwuzurike.
Who's coming out, you think, for the Niners? Kaepernick? Would that be a holy shit moment if Kaepernick walked out and hugged Goodell?
Lynch is stress-free. I don't know that Kyle is stress-free, but Lynch is definitely stress-free.
Were they wearing suits again or more laid back?
Onwuzurike went to Detroit. Then Miami took, but I think, John, your point, Middlecoff, was once Onwuzurike went, that's when the Niners traded. Onwuzurike goes 41, Niners are sitting at 43, and that's when they did the trade. So that's the point John was making. But he just didn't go to Miami. He went to Detroit. Big
heavies. Got to protect the franchise.
Guard. Or they were going to take Eichenberg, whatever the guy's name is, and move. I don't know. So Eichenberg's the left tackle. The Niners just took Aaron Banks, who was the guard. I don't know if Eichenberg, I don't know anything about Eichenberg. Could he have played guard? Could have been that they liked him and they knew he was gone, and that's why they traded back too.
Well, guy, they've taken a Notre Dame guard before, a tackle before.
I know.
They've taken Notre Dame offensive lineman. It's been a bumpy road.
The one thing you'd say, Notre Dame this year played Clemson twice. Do they play Alabama this year? Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got some tape this year from this guy's played Georgia 2 years ago, right? If we look at Notre Dame's schedule, like the guys you've seen him play against are pretty high level.
I'm doing recon right now.
6'5", 325. Oh, Johnny's from he's from El Cerrito. Went from Alameda, Barrier guy.
Seriously?
Yeah.
I asked around trying to get what's his name's 40 time. We got a couple responses. They thought like low to mid 4.5s.
Trey Lance?
Like 4.53, 4.55.
We'll get to that discussion here in a second then, because that was something we wanted to talk about.
Let me find what's his name? Arthur Banks?
Aaron.
He is big. Fuck. You see that? It's a 6'4", 325.
Yeah, that's what I'm. No, John, 6'5", 325. 6'053", so over 6'5". 4-star recruit. Didn't want to go to Cal.
Where would you want to go play offensive line? Cal or Notre Dame? Do you want to come be the next Quentin Nelson, or do you want to be Alex Mack from 08? It would be pretty cool. I'm actually pretty jealous of these guys that, like, obviously Najee went to Alabama, but it's like they'd have the balls to really kind of, because they, I'm sure, could. Like, obviously Cal would have taken them, right? Or UCLA. Or been. It's easy to stay out on what you're comfortable with, but it's like, I'm going to go to Notre Dame. I'm going to go play at Alabama. Like, I commend
you
that
go on a visit
as someone that went to Cal Poly.
You go on a visit and about takes care of that. You go to a home football game.
That's probably pretty cool. I said, Notre Dame guard good. Response I got, he's really strong, stout. Not ideal zone range, but they must want a firm pocket.
Don't we all?
Because just watching him move, like McGlinchey's problem, I think they're kind of ebbing and flowing, right? McGlinchey, he can move well enough. He's not stout. This guy's stout, but can he do like those outside zones? But then you go, well, that's where Trey just makes a guy miss. Do a little 360, boom, throw dimes.
Right. Let me see what Schwartz.
Rondale Moore. I'll say this about the Cardinals: they take talent.
Yeah, they do.
So they have Hopkins, this kid,
Andy Isabella,
who's not terrible, but they have Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk.
Yeah.
Yeah, Isabella's not that good.
Christian
I mean,
Kirk's
is Larry coming back for year 45?
Well, no, they just signed AJ Green.
Oh yeah. They got rid of Kenyon Drake though. They lost Patrick Peterson.
Is Aaron Banks gonna have to drop weight here?
Do you think the Arizona Cardinals win 8 games this year?
In a 17-game season, so they're under 500? The old 8-9 matchup?
Because they're definitely talented. We would agree there, right? They're not a bad team. I
think their quarterback's pretty good. I think they got some good players. I could see him winning 8 games. Yeah, I could see him winning 8 games. I think they're capped. Signed James Conner.
I do kind of feel like this is the year he gets. Their expectations are just going to be unfairly high because I bet internally they go, we have a stacked team. And I don't think they're totally wrong. When I say stack, like I don't mean like Chiefs 15-1, but I just mean like we should be able to win 10, 11 games. And then when you end up winning 7 or 8 and you go, Cliff Kingsbury shouldn't be our head coach, and then you fire him, you also fire the GM. My prediction is that job opens up next year. And I think the fascinating question is, this year is really big for the little guy because is that like a desirable job with Kyler Murray? I would kind of lean, If it doesn't go well this year, I would say Kyler has a chance to be on a little bit of on borrowed time there. Because if you get an old school, like just a normal coach, I wonder if they're just going to be enamored with the guy.
You mean
if he's had 3 years of just...
You're saying they would overcorrect on their coach after Cliff. You don't go with the hot name.
I'm not saying overcorrect, but I'm just saying like if you just hire, the Robert Saleh, the guys that just typically get hired, are they just going to be in love with Kyler Murray? I'm not saying they would get rid of him. You play with him for a year or two, but I don't think he's just some lock to be a 10-year Arizona Cardinal.
No,
you
but
can already see where it's headed.
But he's got to be healthy. Yeah, no, it's fair. Doug Bobby says Doug Peterson.
When Adam Peters and Doug Peterson take over the Cardinals next year?
Doug Peterson does feel like he'd be good on the West Coast.
Move down there with him. Doug Peterson would be. Doug Peterson's coming out of retirement.
Retirement? Is he retired?
Well, I mean, forced. No, what's it called when you're just not working?
Sabbatical?
So you're out of work? Well, I mean, I'm still getting paid millions. I just actively chose to just hang out.
So this is the thing you were talking about. So somebody somebody DM'd this to me, not the person who tweeted it. But so this Tyler tweets, went to look up Trey Lance's 40 time. He didn't run one. Then he posts 2 screenshots. One is this screenshot from an article that says, speaking with Mike Garafolo about why he's not running a 40, Lance told a story about a run he had in college. 44-yard scramble. He said he was wearing a GPS tracker, and it clocked him at 21.54 miles an hour. Next Gen says that run would have ranked him 12th among all ball carriers last year in the NFL and first around among quarterbacks. And then he also included this screenshot of the fastest runners last year, Raheem Mostert, Kenyon Drake, who the Cardinals lost, Jonathan Taylor, and Tyreek Hill. When I saw that tweet, my first thought was, yeah, when Kyle Shanahan tells you not to run, you don't run. But so what do you think? 21 miles an hour.
That's pretty fast because Raheem is stupid fast. I just wonder. So the text I got, people thought he was in the 4.5 ranges. I would say then his play speed, because what would you say Raheem Mostert plays at? Like low 4.4s, high 4.3s? Like his play speed in the open field is gone. Like he's gone. Tyreek is elite speed. Kenyon Drake is elite speed. I would not compare the YouTube highlights I've seen of this kid off that, but there is something to be said about, like, remember Daniel Jones had that run and like he was running like 25 miles an hour. Was it last year or 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Like maybe just sometimes.
Is that the one he fell down on?
Yeah. When you just run, like you can just get some adrenaline and you run a little faster.
Yeah.
But we were talking, I think before.
Probably running on like North Dakota turf, which is, basically concrete, I would imagine.
Were we talking about Kaepernick's speed before we
Yes.
hopped on here? Yeah. So I remember Kaepernick, who I think ran like a 4.4. I don't even think he ran 4.4. I think he ran like 4.51 or whatever. But if you were a whack guy like we were and you watched him in person, you're like, that guy's easily the fastest guy we played all year. Like his speed in the open field was elite. Kaepernick was.
Yeah.
Just watching Trey Lance, like I don't think he's going to be that fast. Do you?
It didn't feel Kaepernick straight line to me, but I'll go back and watch it with a fresh set of eyes. Part of it is Colin was so sinewy, right? He's just skinny, not as big. At least it didn't feel that way when you look at his body type. Maybe it was just a little bit of an optical illusion with Colin.
Trying to find Kaepernick's combine.
20.
Whoa.
While you're doing that, I texted Jeff Schwartz. I said, Aaron Banks, ? He forwarded me a text from a guy who, big Notre Dame guy, watches, an analyst who watches Notre Dame a lot. He said, awesome, about Aaron Banks, the Niners pick. Awesome and room to get better. Most physical ability of the 3 guys draft eligible this year from Notre Dame. When they put him in the lineup back in 2018, he changed the whole intensity of the group in the run game. Got to clean up some pass fundamentals, but he'll kick ass in that system.
So he's mindset great, has the physical tools, just needs to be coached up. They have a good coaching staff. They have a offensive line coach that was so fired up. He used to do cocaine in his office. He's ready to go. Shows you how good you are.
This person, Swan Song, says Cap was 4.55.
4.53 I got.
Okay. Raylan says, don't give a shit if it's 4.6. Plenty fast enough. Agreed.
I agree. Like, to me, you don't need to be.
But I go back to, again, this is where Kyle talked about once we traded up. Now, did Kyle somehow communicate to Trey before his first pro day, before the Niners had traded up, we're trying to trade up, do not run at your pro day? I bet he did. Through somebody. I would imagine the Niners communicated to him, we're trying to get up to 3.
So his pro day happened before the trade up, yes.
The Niners somehow communicated. I just wouldn't be surprised if it was communicated to him by the Niners, we like you, we're going to try and get up and get you. His agent tells him, I want you to be on the Niners. The Niners are asking us not to run because they don't want your stock to just rise too much right now. Don't run. I don't know. I'm just hypothesizing here. That would not surprise me.
Could see that as well.
Because I think Kyle has said multiple times, like, things I had to hide. Once we traded up, I could say things to Trey that I couldn't say before. I think the Niners, I think Mac Jones' agent and Justin Fields' agent, and Mac Jones can say he wanted to be a Patriot. I'd be happy to be a Patriot too. But, I mean, there's no doubt that they would have done whatever the Niners said don't throw, he wouldn't have thrown.
I agree. And then why do they need to run a 40 at the pro day, right? They don't care. We're
gonna try and draft you at 3. So yeah,
we don't want you to pull a hamstring. You're good. He wouldn't have been able to avoid it. The Niners got a little lucky this year because they wouldn't have made the trade before the combine. The combine would have happened, and who knows? You could argue Trey Lance was attainable for them with limited competition because of no combine. Because most trades happen after the combine. So if he goes to the combine, blows it up, runs 4.49, big, people are like, God damn, this guy's smart. Meets him, everyone loves him. The buzz could have been different.
Also,
I've seen it. The buzz of the combine is a life of its own. They got lucky. Just they benefited from no combine.
They benefited, but also part of the reason they had to move up maybe was the fact that there was no combine because they needed more time to get information on guys. But maybe with a combine, they would have ended up at 3 anyway. John says, Lance said he didn't run because he hates being seen as an athlete and not as a passer. John, what do you like to say about fast guys?
Run, because that's what fast guys do.
Fast guys run.
If I was advising Lance, I'd say, Trey, it's not inconceivable you're the number 2 pick in this draft. Do everything at the combine. You will blow them away.
Oh.
What happened?
Rodgers
got traded?
Football team didn't take Davis Mills. Let me go delete that tweet.
Guy they have Heineke, Fitzpatrick, and Kyle Allen. Who wouldn't need to add a quarterback to that group? I do think Fitzpatrick's going to have some moments because I think the Washington football team, their fan base is kind of alive now. And he had a big year for his own career, right? He was really cool this year. He's just not bad. He's old, so he's kind of relatable to like younger people kind of root for him, but older people kind of see themselves in him. Like he's just still gunslinging. He's like 39. I could see Stefanski's. Is there a war room? He just sits in his office. You see that? He's just in his office by himself.
No, I didn't see.
I could see Fitzpatrick if he Macho Man? Oh, Macho Man's dead. Who is that?
Macho Man impressionist?
Kellen Mond hasn't been picked yet. Chris Sims had Mond and Mack ahead of Lance. But here's the difference. If you're ranking players, Chris Sims is saying like he values those players. I think he would acknowledge. Now I guess he put him 32nd in the mock draft. Like
Fields.
You'd have to be an idiot to think that Fields wasn't going to get drafted in like the top 20.
Right.
But if you go Kellen Mond's my 4th quarterback, I understand. Like I don't know. I don't listen to that much of what Chris Sims says. But if he says like I don't know if he's going to get drafted that high, like you can have him as like your 3rd quarterback and go like, listen, no one's going to draft. I would, but I don't think the league would. I don't know if he said that, but you can just not like the player. I don't think it's crazy to be like your rankings. I mean, if your 3rd or 4th player doesn't get picked till the 3rd round, because if that guy ends up good, you'd be like, I told you so.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think your
There's
rankings
2 ways
are about
to do
who
it.
you think the best
rank
players
who you want independent of where they're going to get drafted, and then rank them where they're going to get drafted, right?
Yeah, to me, Fields at 32 almost feels like he doesn't even think he's a first rounder, but he's not going to not have Justin Fields in his first round mock.
Yeah, and that's where I'd say that's where Chris, if he had worked in the league, he worked in there 1 year. I think if he had worked like 2 or 3, it's just like, Chris, there's no way this guy's going to end up there. It's not possible. A player of his stature, of his physical God-given ability and production has never gone 32. Ever.
I think Chris is, I'm not going to say sending a message by putting him in 32, but I think he's saying something by putting him 32.
Yeah.
I think he's saying something. I think what he's saying is this player, not everybody thinks of this player the way, just the general discussion goes about this guy.
But if if Justin Fields is not good, Chris Sims is 100% right.
That's what I mean. And I think he's saying, like, I think there's going to be players. I think he's saying the league does not view him, and I don't view him the way a lot of the discussion views him, which is a premium prospect. That's what he's saying when he puts him 32.
Here's
but it's
one
tough
issue.
Because you can't not have him in your first round.
Well, one issue is, like, to me, we're kind of talking about Fields. He did have Zach Wilson above Trevor Lawrence. Like, that's a pretty bold. Like, you think Zach Wilson would be better than Trevor fucking Lawrence?
Yeah,
because I wouldn't bet on that.
No, I wouldn't bet on it either. But whatever. I mean, if that's what he thinks. Like, I got no problem with it. Be right, be wrong, but just tell me what you think. I think he's saying I don't think Fields is going to be good. That's what he's saying.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, that 100. McGlinchey just retweeted Brian Kelly. Banks is big boy. God damn. Banks is a big, heavy.
Him and Trent Williams on the same side of the line, or you put him on the other side?
The Niners guards have been so terrible. I mean, whatever position, whatever guard guy or spot he's comfortable playing, I don't even think it matters. If this guy is a road grader, him and Trent, that's a lot of road grading. Because then you have a side of Alex Mack, Banks, Trent Williams. You just go road grade.
Yeah.
And you go McGlinchey, just stay in front of someone for the love of God. Can we just mirror?
And it really it works for Trey Lance.
George, you got a chip over there. You got a chip.
It works.
McGlinchey's kind of become a punching bag a little bit, and I do like him, the guy, but God, last year was tough.
It works for Trey Lance and it works for Jimmy Garoppolo. You need to protect either one of them. One thing.
Well, I talked to someone about the Jets, and they're like, they are giving this guy a fighting chance, right? They draft the USC Tucker Carlson. What's his name?
Elijah Vera Tucker.
Yeah, Elijah Vera Tucker and Becton. So you just go right away. We got 2 Pro Bowlers at left tackle, left guard to protect our, right away. 2 of our 5 offensive linemen can be like Pro Bowlers. Tucker Carlson and Mekhi Becton.
Elijah Vera Tucker. Yeah, I like that. I mean, it's, you draft a quarterback, you draft an offensive lineman, you draft a quarterback, you draft him you draft a quarterback and then you draft help for him.
I think the Browns are good. I mean, they draft in the first round.
They won 11 games last year.
They get the corner from Northwestern who's good. Then in this round, they get a guy that people talked about as like a potential late first round pick at pick 52. That they are this guy from Harvard drafting and his Ivy League coach. Are they too smart? I mean, is this too much intelligence in one room?
They finally caught up. Is Dee Podesta still around?
Yeah. One thing, were John and Kyle wearing suits when you saw them on TV earlier?
I don't think so. Kyle, I definitely don't think was.
The super casual guys 100% pivot by tonight. Like they're like, I'm not putting a suit back on.
Well, I saw
tomorrow sweats. The Niners sweat.
I saw this morning they had Louis Riddick was on SportsCenter, and he was just dressed like me right now. It's just in a golf half zip,
like a Lulu pullover or something.
Yeah, just basically this.
I mean, do we need if everyone's in shape, suit and ties everywhere? I've always argued.
No, I mean it's easy for Trevor Lawrence to go no tie. Go t-shirt, white t-shirt tucked in. Not everybody can pull that look off.
Very true. Like if I told you all these guys on NFL Network, especially the 3 main ones, Rich would be more of a struggle, but the other 3 guys.
Rich has a lot of pinstripes that need to be broken out for the draft.
Do you think it would look bad if they were all not wearing suits?
Hoodies?
Is there a hard middle ground? Like, what's a middle ground? Like just a nice golf pullover?
Yeah, it's hard to go middle ground because it's like a middle ground can usually look pretty sloppy if you don't do it right.
There's a balance. Yeah.
So, Davis Mills at 60, if he's still there, would be a good fit. Hell yeah, because 60 is the Saints.
You guys, Davis Mills is the most overhyped player. He
He's
gets
not even,
hurt
he's
a
not
lot.
hyped.
Well,
not
people
hyped.
talk about him like sneaking in the first round. Like to me, he's like a fourth
no.
round.
I mean, but that's not a real conversation. But he's more talented than Kyle Trask, who's not getting drafted right now.
Well, yeah, I'd take him. I'd take Kyle Trask in like the 7th. I used to love this guy.
Oh, Kevin Dyson.
That's who Lowe threw the ball to.
I thought he threw it to the tight end.
Or did Lowe?
Who threw it to who?
Well, did Lowe even throw the ball or Lowe block?
It's a great question.
He scored the game-winning touchdown known as the Music City Miracle.
Who scored? Kevin Dyson scored it.
I thought the white tight end, you're right, threw it. Was Lowe just there, back there? I'm going to YouTube that right now.
Look it up. Hopefully somebody...
I feel like Lowe played a role. Didn't you?
Yeah.
He was on the field.
Definitely on the field.
I thought what was the white tight end? Not Munchak, but...
Yeah, something like that. Titans.
I swear Lowe. I swear
come on.
Lowe's
I mean, this is where the comment. Oh, yeah, he was. This is where the comments, though. Lowe was out there wearing a neck roll in 41, probably. This is where the comments need to come through for us. Who was the tight end? Not Munchak, although it's a good.
You know what the score was?
No.
So it's 13-13. Fourth quarter, the Bills kick a game-winning field goal. Or no, it was 15-13. Tennessee's up. With 20 seconds left, the Bills kick a game-winning field goal, in theory, to go up 16-15. So there are 16 seconds left.
Frank
Doug
Wycheck.
Christie.
What'd you say about Doug Christie?
The kicker was Christie.
Everyone's coming through with Wycheck now. Thank you.
What's his name? What's the old Redskins quarterback that used to be on Sunday Night Football? Not Namath, but Theismann.
Theismann,
He said he'd kick it deep. So Low Neal hands it off. Low Neal catches it, hands it off to Wycheck. They all move. He throws it. Low caught it. Handoff. Wycheck takes a couple steps, fades away, Dyson to the house. So Lowe did play a role. Lowe caught it. And
the most important part was the clean catch and the give. Christian says, I'll be upset if Terrace Marshall goes to the Seahawks. This is where the Seahawks actually do some work, isn't it?
I wonder, did they just randomly do that, or was that set? Because it does look a little lucky.
You think the play looked lucky? How could it not?
Yeah, they set that up. Yeah, because like the other guy tried to catch it, and luckily Lowe's just kind of fat, and he couldn't get by him. I don't mean that in a good way. Like Lowe's just big. I didn't mean it like I'm a Lowe guy, but I miss Lowe. He's always a positive energy. You think Lowe still lives in the Bay Area? Is he Fresno full time now?
No, I think he's down in Lemoore.
Yeah.
Do you know the probably once a year? You know the photo that goes around with the guy who was since deceased, the porn star sitting on the edge of the bed, naked, the dude.
Yeah, with a huge cock.
Once a year, I send Lowe a link that's just like
Lowe's face on that guy.
No, not even Lowe's face on that guy. I'd just be like, dude, did you see this? And it's that because for some reason he did it to me like 6 years ago, and then I just try to get him back every year, just out of the blue. Man, did you see this?
With the same, meme or whatever?
Not just the photo. It's just a link that you don't know what the link is. Kevin says Davis Mills to Seattle, LOL. Is that a prediction, or that would be funny? I mean, if you're Seattle, can you never draft a quarterback? You're not allowed? They do need.
North Dakota State tackle went Tennessee. I mean, they're not just producing quarterbacks. I mean, they had a second-round tackle. That's pretty impressive.
That is. I guess, did I see that Trey Lance's brother's going there as like a freshman receiver?
I mean, it wouldn't shock me. I'd just keep going back to the Lance well if I was them. Carson got any brothers? They're probably, yeah, we're good. I think Weber State's got some openings.
Um,
I looked at the bio of the coach, just thinking like maybe we have him on
and
slow times. He has been there a long time, right? The coordinator for a while. Like
yeah,
he was there with Wentz, and then he was there with Easton. Like he's led, now been the head coach for whatever 5-6 years. To me, he deserves credit for Trey, right?
I
Like
mean,
just getting him to come
for
there,
agreeing, not getting him, agreeing to make him a quarterback.
having back-to-back quarterbacks go pro. That's pretty at North Dakota State.
But to me, the part, you and I have talked about this a lot, but no one wanted Trey Lance to be a quarterback, and he believed in himself so much. He went to North Dakota State to be a quarterback, and they believed in him, and it worked. And it worked. He got drafted 3rd overall by Kyle Shanahan. Schwartz just texted me another offensive line breakdown on Aaron Banks.
I love
Said,
these.
one of the best O linemen in the draft. Oh, this is from Brandon Thorne, who Schwartz says is like, I trust his offensive line evaluations. He tweeted it. One of the biggest O linemen in the draft, a lot of experience outside zone, really good feet at 6'6", 325.
You know how big that human being is? Remember when McGlinchey walked in, you stand up to him, you're like, this guy is huge. Brian Kelly, can you imagine, like, I bet they have big-time offensive linemen. They're like, yeah, he's too short. Like, think of what they pass on at Notre Dame now.
At Notre Dame? Oh.
I mean, the level of size of their human beings. They have a little bit of a feel
Antoine Bethea.
like Alabama doesn't have wide receivers.
I forgot. Remember when he was a Niner, he made it clear the A is in or the A is out at the end of the name. I think Antoine Bethea.
Yeah, I thought it was Bethea.
I like that guy.
He kind of came, I think, the last Harbaugh year, and then kind of stayed with the Tom Sula. I would have been. Some of those guys probably have pretty good stories that were like like an Anquan Bolden that saw like 3 years of it. Like, yeah, I've seen the highs and the lows. Alden's like, yeah, I don't even remember any of it. You see John Schneider at the at his, he had to do the press conference, I guess this week on like Tuesday. One of the questions was like Alden. He's like, yeah, we're just gonna let it play out. We'll know when you know.
Levi Onwuzurike. God, John.
Could have been a Niner.
Listen to this quote. I like fucking people up. I like to get off the line and just put my helmet or my hands on an offensive lineman and fuck up an offensive scheme pretty much. I like pushing them back 2-3 yards, just making them feel like shit.
Did he say this in the press conference?
Yeah, because Chris Burke is the one that tweeted out. He said that press conference was like a Scorsese film. He swore 3 times. Maybe this was on his Zoom. What a quote!
What is Who tweeted this out?
At Chris Burke NFL. Here, I'll put it on the screen. People just need to see me reading it in like super fast mode. Just look at this quote.
Oh. So he's a Lion, right?
He is a Dan Campbell Lion. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Are there any Dan Campbell gifs already preloaded into Twitter that I can use here? You think? No, there are not, obviously. Franco. Levi Onwuzurike, who said that, Dante. The quote's there on the screen. Tight end out of Fryermuth. How do you say his name?
I don't even know.
I will say this for the Lions. They drafted that guy. Just obviously talks like that. Penei Sewell, who's just a football junkie, kind of just scrapper. I would guess, John, there is something that just turns Dan Campbell on when he interviews a player, and we know what it is.
Well, guy, you know who else is there? Is Spielman's brother, You know, the guy that was always just talking about hitting people and it's not about technique, it's about hitting them in the mouth. Remember him calling games? It's like, we just got to rattle some cages. I mean, Campbell and Spielman. Well, Deuce is there. 2 years ago when I was at the Combine, I'll never forget Deuce. Vrabel walks up at the bar with Deuce, Doug, drinking beers. I mean, the fucking place is packed. There's a million. Mike Silver. It's like NFL who's who. Vrabel comes up around the corner, and Deuce looks at him, and he goes, they had just gone on that run, you know, remember, and like beat a bunch of teams with Derrick Henry running. And the look on Deuce's face, the way they played, I mean, that's just like he had like an orgasm, right? Just running down people's throats as a running back. Like that was, to him, like that was football nirvana. Like the old school football people, when they saw Vrabel at the Combine, the respect he got for playing that way. But that's who Campbell surrounded himself with, like the Deuce Staley's, like that. They're not. I would doubt they're gonna spread you out and throw the pigskin around that much, don't you think? Like Jared Goff's gonna be doing the ball handing. Oh, John Dorsey. Oh my, they are football meathead central. But
Pat level
like,
grit,
level,
toughness,
like,
punching dudes in the mouth.
Say this about we're making fun of them. They sound like losers. John Dorsey was hired by Andy Reid. Dan Campbell was hired by Sean Payton. Like these guys are. Deuce Staley has been with the Eagle staff through like 7 head coaches. Like these guys are high level. I actually liked. I think Dan Campbell. I'm rooting for Dan Campbell.
Eric says Franco Harris hasn't played football in 50 years, and the Cleveland fans booed him off the stage. A good boo is sometimes, I think, better. Like, if you're Franco Harris, the Browns fans boo you off the stage, I bet he enjoys that more than if Browns fans had all cheered him. Like, do you still respect me enough that I'm still part of this rivalry? I bet feels pretty good to a player. You know?
100%. Was it really a rivalry in the 70s when they won like 4 chips? Wouldn't you imagine they kicked the Browns' ass?
I mean,
I wonder what football looked like if you just were alive and it was on TV. Like, was it a good TV product, or was it just were there like 3 or 4 teams kind of kicking everyone's ass?
I bet it was good. Like, I saw somebody tweet today that they showed their kids like Super Mario Brothers from like 1993, and his daughter said to him, like, you guys enjoyed this, right? Like, at the time you wouldn't have known any better. You've been like, awesome. I mean, think about football stadiums were like the stadiums with 100,000 seats, John. Those were built a long time ago.
Yeah.
People were going to Michigan and Notre Dame and
Alabama,
Texas Cotton Bowl. They were going to these games. USC, they were going to those games a long time ago. Yeah, that's right, Broco. They don't boo nobodies. You're damn right about that.
They don't boo nobodies.
All right, who's Seattle going to take?
Who said that? Reggie Jackson?
I don't remember. Actually, I was trying to remember who said that.
I was watching the other night live. They were doing a replay on MLB Network of the '88 World Series when Kirk Gibson hit the home run. Yeah. I just watched the whole inning. It was pretty fucking badass. Like, to me, baseball in the 70s and 80s looks sweet.
Was that the inning where he's like, he's gonna pitch? He doesn't want to pitch to him. That whole thing,
yeah. Well, he limps out. He could barely walk. He had a bad knee, a bad hip.
Steve Sachs was on deck.
The AB was good. Sachs looks awesome. He has the mustache. The AB, he's like fouling balls off. He's like limping around. And when he hits it, and just the joy in the guy's face.
Hunter Mahan in the stream? Malbon in the building?
I don't quite understand
Cowboys?
what Malbon is.
Brand.
It's like an addition to clothes or something?
It's just a brand.
He tried to explain it to me. What?
It's just a brand.
No, but I think they take like Nike or Adidas and they like add to it is what I thought.
They do like collaboration with Nike, but they do their own stuff. Like you can get
that's what I
$120 fleece. I love all their logos.
The logos look sweet. Oh, they don't. I assume they link up with they're just an individual brand, not with every brand.
Yeah, they're an individual brand. But they do they do some Nike stuff with Nike. Like
a Peter Millar or something, right? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like they're their own brand.
Yeah, they're their own brand. Yeah. Chargers are looking good. Tell you, I mean, the only question with the Chargers is can they coach?
I got to do this thing in 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Let's see the Seahawks pick here, and then we'll bounce. And we'll be back tomorrow at some point. Wide receiver. Say this. They're like, Russ, trust us. Who did I see earlier? I think it was Steve Smith loves this guy. I was watching NFL Network earlier, and they're like, who's one guy that you love today? And Steve Smith said this guy, Dwayne Eskridge from Western Michigan.
Some talent in this division, guy.
All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging with us. Subscribe to the channel. Give it a like. Go watch our other videos we did today about other stuff. And we'll have more content coming over the weekend. Subscribe to the podcast down in the description. WineAccess.com/ham. 20% off your first order. SleepNumber.com/ham. Anything else to say?
Been a hell of a draft.
It's not over yet.
No.
Long way to go.
Guy, we got more rounds left than have come, so we got a lot
to go. We're not even through the second round. Feels like we've been here for hours because we have. All right.
We've been here a couple hours.
A couple hours today. Right. I think, 4 hours last night? Smash that like button. All right.
Okay. I got to
Thanks, everybody.
Later.
Promo code HAM.